Thank you, Andrew, and good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for the opportunity to share my thoughts with you today on building an open future here in the UK. We operate in the most dynamic and exciting industry, which is why you're all here today, the payments market. And I know that all of you live and breathe payments, and many of you have seen the industry evolve over the years. And as you'd agree, it continues to be a really dynamic space. We find ourselves, however, in the next chapter of payments here in the UK. And as we think about this next chapter and the open future that we want to create, we have to be really clear on our desired outcomes, our vision, and the foundations and the principles that are going to take us forward in this next chapter of payments, and that are so crucial on what we've built our history on. As you know, most people don't actually think about payments, but there are few things that are more essential to our daily life and to our economy. We all depend on our wages being paid, benefits being paid, pensions arriving on time, and we want to be able to settle bills, we want to pay for shopping easily and securely, and we want to be able to transfer money to family and friends as quickly and safely as possible. But payments have changed dramatically over the last 25 years, with people and businesses around the world embracing digital. And you know, the UK has actually been at the forefront of that revolution. The UK has an enviable track record of being a global leader in payments. And I'm proud that many of you, in fact, probably each and every one of you in this room have played a significant role in this. And sometimes it's really helpful to look back at what brought us here and take time to reflect on that progress so that we know that we've made remarkable progress and that meaningful milestones in the UK payments history are so important. We were the first market to launch fast and easy, secure ways of paying, like contactless. We were first compared to elsewhere in the world. And such innovations cannot be undermined, but they have changed the way that payments have happened in the last decade. If you look back at 2014, nearly 50% of payments were made using cash, whereas in 2022, almost 85% were made digitally. Remarkable progress if we actually reflect. We take the convenience totally for granted in payments, the security of digital transactions for granted. From tapping on our commute on the way to the office in the morning, grabbing a coffee on the go, or buying lunch at the office, or shopping online at work. And another huge success story in the UK has been public transport. The tap-to-ride technology was introduced in 2012, as you all know, with TfL in partnership, and it became the real benchmark globally of how a simple and efficient payment experience should be. And it transformed the lives of millions of commuters every single day. And we know that it's not just the commuters who actually benefit from contactless transactions and transit. We conducted a study, and it actually helps across several cities across the world, and we found that even surrounding businesses saw the benefit of the enhancements in digital payments, and they saw increased sales. In Manchester, as an example, there was a remarkable 13% uplift for the surrounding businesses in their sales because of payment innovation. But payments don't only benefit those consumers, they're also the engine that drives our economy, and so true here in the UK. They expand all of the possibilities for the smallest sizes of businesses to grow their customer base and to build confidence from their street or town to being global in their operations. And indeed, our research shows that when you accept digital payments as a small business, it could lead to an average of 12% increase in sales. So when we think about the next chapter of payments here in the UK, and we reflect on the successes of the last 25 years and the last decade more specifically, we have to learn from some of those foundational principles that have set us on this track and got us here. There's never been a more vibrant time for payments, and you can see it out here at this event. We've never had more choice. We see it on our network. We see new fintechs. We see exciting new possibilities and new propositions joining us. We see new initiatives coming to life globally and in the UK, open banking, digital wallets, digital identity amongst the most topical at the moment. And I just want to remind you that these successes should not be taken for granted in the UK and how far we've come. But we know there's more work to do as we write this next chapter, and good things do take time. But we need to learn the lessons, and whilst what got us here today will put us in good stead, We need to create an environment where open banking, open finance, and open data will flourish in the UK and will continue to put us at the forefront of payments on the global stage. So if we reflect on these milestones in the UK, we must recognize the foundational principles of what got us here, and that will shape us for the next chapter as we move forward. So the big question that we're here to answer today is, how can we deliver an open future for the UK? And what does an open future actually mean? So open banking, open finance, and open data are progressively transforming how people will operate in their daily lives, just as we saw from the historical experiences in payments. It's going to help people build a future, as well as businesses build a future that will help them better manage their financial well-being and their business. And as we progress in the UK from open banking to open finance to ultimately open data, we need an outcomes-based approach, we need a vision, and we need to allow the industry to openly compete on a level playing field to get us there. We've seen the benefits of open banking starting to increase, and that's well recognized in the UK. It's more flexibility, more control for business, more efficient back office processes, and more choices in ways to pay and be paid, so that we can manage our financial lives as consumers in a more seamless way. And open finance is the opportunity to really deliver even greater benefits for consumers and businesses and UK PLC as a whole. So if we look at it from a consumer standpoint, open finance will give more control, more choice over consumers' financial data and financial decisions, and consumers can start to compare and switch between different providers. They can access more personalization, more tailored services, and ultimately improve their financial well-being and financial literacy. If we then look at open finance from a business standpoint, it can really help business access new markets, new customers, new opportunities, and can ultimately create new business models that will connect verticals that we might not have seen before and support the evolving needs of that end consumer. The businesses can leverage data, they can leverage insights, and they can offer more innovative products and services, and ultimately, importantly, reduce costs and reduce risk in their business. But they can also collaborate and they can partner and they can provide more value for their customers. And if we look at open finance from a regulatory or financial system standpoint, it can help to enhance the efficiency and the financial effectiveness of the financial system. And regulators have got a crucial role to play in fostering a more level playing field, promoting competition and innovation, and protecting consumers and financial stability in the UK. So it's clear the opportunities are there for consumers, business, and the financial system. And the UK must seize this opportunity for this open future in order for us to stay ahead in this dynamic payments industry. But how can we deliver that successful open finance environment here in the UK is the big question that we're here to answer. And at Visa, we believe it's by focusing on 3 key principles. So I'll start with the first one. The first principle is never lose sight of the end customer and the outcomes that we're hoping to achieve for them. Their needs, their goals, their financial and life objectives should drive everything we do in this industry. It has to start with the end consumer and customer. It's the way we focus on this is we appreciate the why behind the innovations that we deliver. This way, the payments and the financial services will constantly add value to people's lives. And we know that consumers are looking for easy, they're looking for convenient experiences that put them in control and keep them safe. The consumers have come to expect this in the UK, and they're going to continue to demand highly personalized, intuitive, and seamless experiences, and ones that help them to manage their day-to-day lives. But of course, personalization isn't one size fits all. It's about putting the control in the hands of the consumer so they're empowered to choose how much or how little of their data they make available for the personalization experience. So that's the first principle of putting customers first. The second principle is building security and trust into the open future vision. And this is anchored on the very vital ingredient, which is trust. Trust that their data as an end consumer is being delivered with value to them, and it's helping them to meet their goals. trust that their money is safe, trust that their payment will work every single time, and trust that they can get their money back if there is a problem. And as an industry, we're not just in the business of enabling transactions, we're in the business of trust. And trust is the currency that we actually trade in the payments industry. And at Visa, we build that trust through a relentless commitment on our security and our reliability. So earning customers' trust requires a huge commitment to privacy, to security of their data, and to transparency as its intended handling and use. So a successful data access model should fundamentally be incorporated both with commercial flexibility and the responsible treatment of data in this open future. And these two things are not mutually exclusive. In fact, they are very complementary. So we believe that successful customer data access should place the consumer control at the center of data management and be supported by robust data use principles and practices. And consumers should be empowered to make informed decisions with the ability to easily update their preferences, revoke their permissions as they feel, and it has to be fundamental to the widespread adoption of consumer data rights and related open finance propositions that evolve. Security goes hand in hand with that key ingredient of trust. Actually in 2022, customers made over 45 billion payments in the UK. And each time, money was at stake for people and for businesses. We all know that fraud can ultimately be catastrophic for people's finances, but also for their mental health and their mental well-being. It costs the UK billions every year, and it undermines our financial reputation and has much wider implications for society, as we all well know. So that confidence in payments and a critical, well-functioning open economy is going to be key. Again, if you consider shopping online, people want to know that their payment details are kept safe every single time. They want protection in the event of a dispute, and they want protection if their purchase never actually arrived. 44% of buyers say that security is the key feature that will make them choose any particular payment. At Visa, we've got a tremendous track record in fighting fraud. We invest in the talent and the technology and the timing of when we introduce the fraud technology. Globally, we've invested more than £8 billion over the last 5 years. And this is paying off because our fraud rates on our Visa network are at the lowest among all payment forms. And last year, we stopped around £30 billion worth in fraud globally. But whilst the card fraud remains really low, or at historical lows, shall I say, account-to-account fraud, as we all know, is a challenge that the industry needs to address if it wants a successful open ecosystem. We've all seen the figures in 2022. We saw £485 million worth of fraud losses in APP scams. These are lost savings, lost income, lost taxes. And it's the money that ends in the hands of the criminals who then just fund more fraud, so a vicious cycle. 1 in 3 consumers have fallen prey to APP scams in the previous years. We have to resolve this if we want an open future. Surprisingly, 60% of those UK consumers were actually the youth. It wasn't only the elderly, it was 60% were young customers. And it does not only impact their personal life, as I say, but it impacts their well-being and ultimately their trust, which is that key ingredient. In financial services, when you fall victim to fraud, it reduces your confidence in digital banking, it has a negative impact on your overall well-being, and it just decreases your confidence in your money management. The relationship with the bank is also impacted, and 15% of APP scams victims actually leave their bank as a result, even if they get reimbursed. So a real challenge for us to remedy. So whilst the reimbursement piece is really, really important for the consumer, fraud prevention has to be our collective goal for an open future. So how do we rise to this challenge of opening the ecosystem while keeping consumers and business safe at the same time? And at Visa, we believe it's the power of bringing together data with the power of AI. And we've been using AI for over the last 30 years to fight fraud on cards. And we're now bringing that technology into the account-to-account space for the billions of transactions that we're seeing here in the UK. And what we bring to the table is an innovative multi-financial institution, multi-rail fraud detection system that can really help reduce fraud within the blink of an eye, without any inconvenience to the speed and the reliability of account-to-account payments in the UK. We're bringing all these capabilities to bear in the account-to-account space so we can keep the UK economy safe. And that's a step closer in building this open future that we speak about. And finally, the third principle, which underpins all of it, is the regulatory environment, of course. We would always encourage policymakers to focus on outcomes that matter for consumers and for business. By avoiding prescriptive approaches, the industry can compete and can deliver world-leading solutions, which we have for the last decade in the UK. We have observed in other markets globally where inflexible regulations have hindered the adoption and innovation of an open future. And as such, we would want to promote policies that enable innovation, competition, the emergence of different business models, and ultimately that will drive consumer adoption. So that third principle of creating an environment that enables innovation and that is industry-led is really, really critical. And if we get this right, the end goal will be embedded finance, a term that we all use very frequently in the payments industry today. And open, or at least embedded finance, has got endless possibilities where we can put financial products more seamlessly into people's day-to-day lives and really create unique experiences for customers. That's when we really start to unlock the benefits of an open future. Think about it, we're all very familiar with embedded shopping and payment experiences, whether it's you or your children scrolling through TikTok or Instagram routinely. It ends in a shopping journey at some point or another, whether it started as one or not. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. In the future, embedded finance won't be a novelty, it will be a baseline in the UK industry. Financial services and payments will be deeply embedded and integrated into every digital and software platform. Many of the folks who are here today that are not only consumers, but businesses and sellers rely on these platforms. And finance that is not embedded will be an exception, not the rule. So let's take consumer lending as a very, very simple example. In the past, if you wanted to take out a personal loan, you needed to think about it in advance, fill out the paperwork, bring a bunch of identity documents, and perhaps wait weeks. Things got a bit better, and lending moved to online platforms with APIs, and now there is a checkbox in almost every checkout experience asking if you want to borrow to finance your purchase. But at the end of the day, it can be a very clunky and often time-consuming experience. Our vision of the future is that lending will be deeply embedded into the user's journey and into the platforms where it really matters. It will be more data-rich, highly customized and personalized, as we spoke about, and the platforms will know when you need to borrow and how much you need to. You won't even have to ask for a loan. You'll just need to say yes or no when offered. So all of us in this room, Visa, client banks, merchant partners, platform players, and all regulators have to pull together to create a vision, an outcomes-based view of our open future. We need to see a future that sees multiple account-to-account schemes where there's choice to consumers. These schemes should be open. They should allow all third-party processors and banks to participate, driving a level playing field and competition. That competition will create an environment for us here and the impetus to expand the open future to even wider ranges of use cases than we've ever seen before. Regulators, as I say, have an important role to play here. And historically, investment decisions in the UK, which have led to firsts for the UK market, have been underpinned by very strong regulatory frameworks, which are based on stability, proportionality, and rigor. Effective payments regulation will play a very important role in the UK delivering an open and a dynamic market that will operate in the interest of the end users. So the challenge now for everyone for this open future is how can we move at speed together to ensure that the UK continues to lead on the global stage, and in that way ensure that it is safe for end consumers and for the entire ecosystem. Thank you very much for your time today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the Open Future track. Thank you very much.